morning. I think we're in for a real treat this morning. Big compliment. I love the way you all walked in this morning. I know it's not a traditional chapel or a normal chapel, but you guys entered the space really, really calmly, and I really appreciate it. I love all these jerseys out there today. So, as you all know, February Black History Month. We're going to have some special chapels in regard to Black History Month. And to kick it off, we're going to learn about the music that started right here in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to turn the microphone over to Ms. Tatterway to get things started. So let's welcome her up.
Good morning. Okay, this year it took a lot of thinking and a lot of people to come up with another great theme for Black History Week. And then one day when Mike Haynes was in my class, he thought for a second, he said, we've come so far at Norwood with Black history. And we've had some really good Black history. So we thought we had to keep it going. So we partnered this year with People of Color President Monique and Crystal, who are gonna come and kick this chapel off, and they'll start this chapel, and we'll have another chapel on the 21st to keep that going. Okay, so if you feel like moving, you're allowed today. Okay? Little moving, little beat, okay? All right, let's welcome our People of Color President.
Good morning, everyone. I'm normally in the back, so this is exciting to be here in the front for the first time. But I want to introduce myself. My name is Monique Herbert, and this is Crystal Thompson. And she's Chloe's mom. I'm Kevin Owen's mom. And we're excited here to introduce you to something that we grew up listening to, right? This is something that's uniquely here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. It's an origin of music, a genre that has originated here. And we could not have partnered with the most talented person to represent this for you today. So we want you to have fun, enjoy, move, and I'll kick it over to Crystal. We want to read briefly Sarky Markey's bio. He will explain to you how he got his name, but this is an exciting treat.
Hello everybody, so I'm very excited to introduce you today to Sarky Markey. He is a Washington DC native, has been a percussionist since the age of 12, lending his talents to rap, jazz, R&B, and go-go genres. Striving to apply his smooth and funky style to all musical forms, Sarky Markey aims to share his versatile percussion skills across the spectrum of music. So let's give a warm welcome to Sarky Markey.
Good morning, everyone. That doesn't sound like good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yes, that's right. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you all are in attendance this morning, and I heard it's Jersey Day. I see a bunch of jerseys. I like the Commanders jerseys too. Yes, indeed. I just wanted to introduce myself again. My name is Sarky Markey. My name is Mark Hollingsworth. I'm a percussionist that I'm born and raised here in the Washington, D.C. area. I actually my name derived actually from the socket, which is a different part of a percussion format that we use here in the DC area called GoGo. So GoGo music was actually started, let's say somewhere around the 1960s. There was a few bands that actually that started the program out, and it went to the founder, which we call the godfather of GoGo, Chuck Brown. Chuck Brown was a native of North Carolina, and he moved to Washington, D.C., where he actually started with a band called Los Latinos. So go-go music, and that brings me to this introduction too, that go-go music is actually derived from a couple of many different cultures. There's a Latino culture, Afro-American and African culture, and Caribbean culture also. They all use some of the same instruments, which is percussive instruments. These instruments, a lot of people call them congos here in the area, but they're actually called congas. C-O-N-G-A-S, congas. This is what I have right here is the junior congas. They're small, of course. You can actually tell that the name came from them being a smaller portion of the larger congas that we usually equate to as congas. Junior congas, they call them high congos at times, but they make a higher pitched sound. And I'll demonstrate some of those things throughout the performance. And usually, just wanted to say also that the set that we use, you see here, they're usually set up in this manner with usually if you play right-handed, which I am right-handed, we'll have these smaller portions of the conga set up to the left side, and the lower pitch, bigger conga set up to the right side. Vice versa if you would be playing left-handed. You have some musicians that play left and right-handed, and they'll switch them up the way that they need to. That's more comfortable for their style. But I don't want to bore you with all the aesthetics with that. So what I'll get into is the sounds of the congos. So this is the highest pitch conga that we usually use in a normal go-go set. Lower conga, junior conga. Then you have what we call a conga. So there are different kinds of congas also, regular style congas. There's a tumba, there's a conga, and then you have a kento, which I do not have with me here today. It's a smaller conga, regular style conga, but it has a higher pitch than the regular conga. Now they can be tuned, and that's a very important piece of the work. You want to make sure that you tune them to sometimes the frequency of the music or whatever style of music that you're playing. So what I'll do is when I start with the demonstration, I'll give you kind of like a solo just to start out with. But just to mention, I just want to mention before I go into those, Chuck Brown, of course, I mentioned that he's one of the founders of GoGo. We have Experience Unlimited, Trouble Funk, Northeast Groovers, Junkyard Band, Backyard Band, which some people might be familiar with growing up here for the older people. But GoGo is alive and well, and we want to be able to teach and pass down that to the younger generation. So with no further ado, what I want to do is I'll go into actually a little bit of a solo, and then after the solo, I'll show you some techniques which I use to kind of complete that solo, okay? So back to the techniques. There are many different techniques. You have a slap, which is one of the ones that I use in the solo. And you have a pop, we usually call it GoGo, like a pop, which you would stop the sound from vibrating. Congas actually vibrate, and they have different skins that you use to make the sound and to tune the instrument. So just really quick, you have the lugs on the congas here. Some use different methods to tune congas to get a certain sound, and that pulls the skin, whether it be a constructed skin or it be a natural skin. So these are actually synthetic heads. They are not skin from an animal like a leather that you might see or normally have. It's a little bit easier to work with if you actually move around and you perform a lot, which I do, because they don't detune so much. You want to keep them at a certain tune when you perform. So in different types of weather, you have inclement weather where it rains, snows, or moisture in the air, and the actual heads start to expand, which makes the sound deeper, or it'll detune itself and not be where you want it to be. So what we do is we'll take a wrench and we'll tune the nuts on each lug to make sure that the skin is tuned to the proper sound. So even though you have certain sizes, you also have certain tunes to each head also. But what I want to do is, I want to go into the differences between a pocket and a socket that are the majority, the way we use it during GoGo, okay? So the first one will be a pocket. So notice I use the slap on the conga to start. It actually helps to keep the rhythm. So when you dance, you have a certain rhythm that you use, and when you perform, I use a certain rhythm to keep the timing of the song. So the pop would be hitting the conga, and then the stopping sound, which would stop the head from vibrating. And then with the hits or the slaps that I use for the congas, I can use it to make sure that it vibrates at a certain time, or I stop that certain vibration at a certain time. So I can make it, you notice how the sound resonates and it continues to play after I hit it. Or I stop it and that stops the sound from going any further. With the tighter heads or the smaller congas, you're not able to do that as much, but you can tell the difference in the sound when you start to get into the details of it. So now I'm going to present a socket, which we call. There are different forms of sockets and pockets, but I'm just giving the basics of each type of a style that we use. So the main thing I wanted to point out with that socket is I was keeping the timing of the socket with the higher conga, and that brought on the movement within the other congas. So next, I think we have another point of the conversation that we wanted to bring in.
Okay, now it's time for you to get involved. Okay, so I shared how well you all sing, lift every voice and sing, right? Right? Don't you sing that pretty well? So, you take it from here. He's going to play it with you, and you're going to help him out by singing as he plays, okay? You ready?
There we go. I'd like some energy. Just like you said, good morning. Let me hear that energy with lift every voice and sing. Let's go, you guys. Come on, let's go. If you want to stand up, let's get active. Let's go. All right. Everyone ready? We're going to count down 3, 2, 1.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty.
Outstanding. You guys sound great.
Let's give it up one more time for Saki Marky. Saki Marky, in 10 seconds, can you just give us a 10-second crazy solo go-go just so the kids feel what it feels like when they hear the beat? Amazing, one more time. All right, folks, so February is Black History Month, but we know that Black history is American history and takes place throughout the entire year. So as you go through your school year, please remember to honor and celebrate Black history and culture throughout.